Hello once again, Star Wars and Unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars Unboxing Show, Shelf Talk Edition. And today we are going to go into one of our wonderful IKEA shelves that I mentioned in a previous episode of Shelf Talk. These IKEA shelves are still available in any IKEA store. You can order them online. You can go to the IKEA place and purchase them. They run roughly $60, and that is the price that they have been holding steady at for many, many years. When you consider it as a glass case, you put it together yourself, but it's very basic, but it is very clean, very simple to put together, it is, and very good for the price. So I've seen collections that have lined these up all over, you know, like from one end of a room to the other, and that has been like that, you know, that is a collector's way of setting it up. They're fantastic when it comes to being able to light. You can light them in different ways. So this one we have it lighting like this, but I think my battery's dead on it, so I have to replace it. But nonetheless, it works out really, really well. So today we're going to kind of talk about the top two shelves of this. What this IKEA shelf holds is essentially the Collector Series and the 12-inch Kenner/Hasbro collection, or part of it. There is, you know, it was a very extensive collection in the mid-90s through the mid-2000s. Before Sideshow took over the license of 12-inch figures, these were the really the best 12-inch figures you could get. Now, obviously, they have improved greatly with the Sideshow, and even more so with Hot Toys. And they've also gone the other way to a very, very basic play figure that you can now get for you know, through Hasbro in a very, you know, old school kind of way. You know, for like $10 or less. These figures tended to range around $20 to $24, $25. I believe most of them are standard. There might be some exclusives in here, but most of them are standard. So we'll just kind of start. We'll kind of walk through them. We have Luke Skywalker here, who is the Luke Skywalker from the you know, the awards, the Throne Room Awards ceremony. As you can see, if you look really closely, you see that his jacket, while kind of similar in style and look, is not, of course, made with the same material. He does come with his medal. He has his weapon, the brown striped pants, okay, and the boots. I would have liked to have seen him go on an adventure dressed like this, but that's all it is. As you can see, though, you know, his head is a little bit oddly shaped, you know, so there's some imperfections to them. Of course, they were not meant to be high-end recreations, and they have since improved on that immensely. But still, at the time, this is the only way to collect 12-inch, you know, articulated figures, and they did a pretty good job for them at the time. I was pretty happy with them. Be careful not to run myself into here. All right, we're going to be bopping around a lot. Okay, moving over here, we have the Stormtrooper, and I believe it is just a Stormtrooper. You can already see, if you look closely, with this plastic, there's some definite wear on the back, and on the, you know, this was not a very much played with toy, but it just has a little wear on it and a tiny bit of yellowing. But overall, you know, it was a pretty good figure. I'm noticing the belt and codpiece are starting to come off a little bit, but generally speaking, I was pretty excited for the Stormtrooper figure, just because, you know, we never had one. Oops. We'd never had one with, you know, soft, good armor that you could take off. So this definitely has that. And, you know, I thought it was a pretty good one. Okay, so good job on the Stormtrooper. And moving on, this is not in any particular order. Let's take a look, a few little ones here. We got a small Yoda. Yoda does not have bendable, he has a bending torso, but his legs are not independent. But as a figure in and of itself, I think you can agree it has a pretty good look to it. You gotta be careful, you oftentimes will drop the cane. And moving on to the little ones, we have Wicket, the Ewok, with his spear. He tends to drop the spear. It's got the standard 5 points of articulation because it's a smaller figure. I believe this might have been a 2-pack. This might have come with an R2. I can't remember, but no. This one came out. It was in a smaller box, Collector Series. So they look pretty good. And one more small one for now. We have our Jawa. Comes Comes with the little laser or the stun gun. Pretty good, pretty decent model. Okay. Trying to see if I have. Hang on one second, just to show you, just because I have it right in front of me here. Come right back to this. You see a little comparison to. Now, as you can see, the Jawa on my right hand, on your left is a sideshow Jawa, one of the 2 packs, and you can see there's a lot more detail to it, and you can also see that it's a little more of a size differentiation there, which is interesting. Okay, but you know, at the time, as I said, this little guy, when he came out, that's who it was. So I liked him. It was good. And again, it had a cheaper price point because it was smaller. Okay, moving on, we've got Padme. Padme comes with freakishly weird hair in the back. She comes with I don't know what that is. I guess that's just her supposed to be hair. Okay. She comes with one of her Naboo blasters and a battle droid blaster. The problem is that her hand is basically like a Barbie hand, so there's not much you can do with holding a blaster. So we just kind of put the blaster in her belt like this. Not a big fan of the female dolls that they've come up with. They've done a much better job in Sideshow Hot Toys. This head is kind of huge, so it's kind of weird. Even the Forces of Destiny dolls are of a better quality. Okay, moving on, we have C-3PO, and this one I always laugh at because if you were to take a look at the C-3PO from the original Kenner 70s 12-inch and this one, they're almost identical. They're almost the same. I do believe that there's a little more articulation on this, but I'm afraid because, you know, right now the metallic plastic kind of freezes up a little bit if you're not careful. So I don't want to put too much, you know, effort in trying to bend it. I'm afraid it's going to break, but there is a little bit of, you know, they do have a little more articulation. He's got some heel articulation and whatnot. Some of the C-3POs that have come out actually light up, but this one is just pretty much an articulated one. So there you go. Moving on, we've got Anakin Skywalker. This looks like the standard, regular Episode 2 Anakin Skywalker. There he is, got his braid. I don't like sand. It gets everywhere. You know, some people groan at that whole sequence. I just say, you know what, guys? Maybe it's because I'm a teacher of teenagers, and to me, they all sound like that. Especially when they're trying to. Seems like they're all awkward. So to me, it was normal. So, Hayden, you did a good job. We love you. Anyway, all right. Oh, here's a good one. R5D4. Nice little bit of sand and scuff marks, and a nice little feature. Switch from 2-leg to 3-leg. Okay, so pretty cool. But store is better like this. Okay, so R5D4, another nice one. Now, and moving on, I will tell you that I'm going to point out one thing I want to mention. We have the Princess Leia Royal one. This is actually a Princess Leia doll. That's a more high-end one. But I do want to point out that mine is a little bit damaged, and the reason being is I mentioned in a previous episode we did have a flood in our space here in our basement that the Star Wars room is located in, and while not a lot of the toys were damaged, some toys, this one was boxed and it did get water damage, so some of the between mold and other things kind of ended up on the dress and on the skin. So at some point I will do a cleaning, but right now, you know, it's fine like this. But it is a beautiful doll. It is a beautiful likeness, a better likeness than what other ones we've had. Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ben Kenobi, I should say. One of my favorite characters. I love I think they made the robe, even though it looks a little bit kind of, you know, like it doesn't flow the right way. It is, I think, made of a very similar material to the blanket to whatever he had, whatever he was wearing. So I always like that. So I'm trying to think. There was a 2-pack of a Vader and Obi-Wan that were electronic. I don't think this is the one. And I think this is one of the Vaders, one of the first Vaders that came out. Oh. Man, this is actually Anakin. This might actually be the Vader. I have to look. Oh, no. There was a book that came out. I'll show those in a future episode. But I thought they did a good job of getting that mask, the whole helmet thing. But it's, if you look at it closely, look at the detail on there. I mean, this is just a toy. I mean, like an actual buy in the toy store toy, not a high-end collectible toy. So I think they did a good job with it. And it's got some, I mean, there's no electronics or anything, but, it's got some posability too. So cape's a little off, but I'll take it. All right, and then moving on to our second shelf. It's a little bit hard to see from the video, but what I'm actually going to do is when I take these out, I'm actually going to move them from bottom to this shelf just to make it a little quicker. We've got Watu, no money, no parts, no deal. One of my favorite characters, by the way, from episode 1. I mean, everybody talked about Jar Jar, but for all the hatred that Jar Jar got, and by the way, I was not one of those haters. I thought Jar Jar was fine. Was he my favorite character? No, but I thought Ahmed did a great job. Ahmed, if you ever happen to come across this, kudos to you, man, for doing your job, and you did a good job with it. And you did even more with that character in the Clone Wars, and I thought that was awesome. But Watto I always liked. I always thought he was a kind of a real character. He was kind of, for the Star Trek fans in this, he was like the Ferengi of Star Wars, and I liked that Anakin went back in episode 2, and just with a look got him to do whatever he needed. So that was really cool. So, and I liked that he flew. That was cool. And I already kind of took this one out in a previous episode, the Grand Moff Tarkin. In comparison to the Hot Toys figure that came out recently, this is, very, very, very basic, but still a cool figure. And we have another Hayden. This one, or I keep saying Hayden. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this one might have like a playable feature or something. I don't know. There's like a button here in the back, and I can't really tell. I think it's just like a little. It does that kind of thing. Ooh, Watto dropped his pad. Okay, but you can see the look on his face is a little more menacing, and he also comes with the mechanical arm, so that's kind of cool. Of course, we have to give a shout out to Chewbacca. Now, I'm looking here at Chewbacca, but what I'm not seeing is Chewbacca's bandolier. I don't see his bandolier. Where's his bandolier? I'm not sure. It's possible. All right, here's Chewbacca. Now, I gotta be honest with you. Hasbro, I love you. Kenner, I love you, but you've had a hard time making Chewbacca. I get it. He's tall. He's furry. He's like a Bigfoot, but he's not a Bigfoot. He's like an ape, but he's not an ape. So you do a few things. Now, I like his head sculpt on here. It's pretty good. Okay, but this plasticky version of him, to me, doesn't really hold up. I like his bandolier strap. I'm looking for his bowcaster, but I don't see it. But I see something else in here. And I have another Chewbacca in here, which I'll show you in a second. But this looks like one of the guns from Kashyyyk, which makes me wonder if, because it was right next to him, so this might be a Revenge of the Sith one, where he actually didn't have his bowcaster, he was using other stuff. So perhaps that's the case. Who knows? I'll have to look up some old figure pictures to see. We'll come back to the other Chewbacca in a second. We have the Emperor. My only thing about this one is I'm not really a big fan of the way the hood, it's stitched into his head, so you really can't do much with it. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that. There's also got a little water damage, but he's a good guy. He's a good figure, and he holds on to his cane, which is more than I can say for a lot of other ones. So there's that to contend to. Moving on, we got a 2-pack here. 2 little pit droids. My only issue with the pit droids is that I wish that there was a way to fold them up. Like hit the nose and make it fold up to a real small thing. I think they did create something in a smaller action figure wave that could do it that way. But these guys, not so much. So, and I just kind of have them sitting like this because they're so they're so meager that they tend to fall apart. Okay, we also and here's a good one. We have your eyes can deceive you. Don't trust them. With the blast shield down. That's basically Obi-Wan training Obi-Wan. It's kind of nice. See him without the brown robe, and he's got the helmet that you can put on him or you can put on Luke. And in addition to that, he also comes with a little training remote. Isn't that cool? So that was a nice little 2-pack. Bring him back there like that. This one doesn't like you. And I don't like you either. Just kidding. This is Walrus Man or Ponda Baba. And the one who I don't believe this comes with a removable arm. But it does come with a blaster. I think he can hold the blaster pretty well. It doesn't come with a holster. So you got to either hold the blaster or do something else with it. But it's a nice one. You know, nice. And they didn't really have that one. They didn't really have that figure. So it was kind of cool. But can't have Walrus Man. Well, they never made a larger Dr. Evazan, which is the one that says, he doesn't like you. I don't like you either. But they did make a Greedo. And here's my favorite part of this Greedo. Okay? Now, I was excited to get it. You got to understand. When these figures came out, all we had before that was the original 12-inch main characters. That's what we had. Then they came out with IG-88 and Boba Fett. But essentially, all Star Wars main characters. Then they came out with this guy. And I'm like, yeah, they're going into the second series, the second wave. They're going for the next group. Yeah, and that's when they came out with all this. But I want to point out his gun. First of all, let's point out this hand. Let's point out this hand. Now they're sticking with detail. He has the suction cups here, but they just put a gun in his hand and just made him hold the gun. That was it. But then I thought, at first I complained about it, but then I thought about it. All right, well, let's think about Greedo. Greedo walks into the cantina, or he's in the cantina when Han Solo is making a deal with Luke and Ben, and then they leave, and Chewie leaves, and what do we see with Greedo? He just pops up with the gun, he sits down with the gun, he stands there the whole time, does all of his lines with the gun, and then Han shoots first, and down. Probably still holding the gun, so I guess that's okay. At least, hey, look at it this way, we won't lose the gun. That's saying something. Alright. Now here's the other Chewbacca. Now, you saw what that one looked like. Then you got this one. I mean, come on. Look at this thing. It looks like, first of all, it looks like Chewbacca hasn't eaten in about, 10 years. This almost looks like, in fact, I was laughing hysterically before I hit play on or record on the video, and I was looking through them. I was like, this guy looks almost like what Chewbacca looks like in Solo when he's first about to fight Han in the pit, in the mud pit, right? He kind of looks like this. He's all drenched, all of his fur sticking to him. So I'm going to call this Mud Pit Chewbacca to fight with. If I ever get an Alden Ehrenreich Han Solo figure, I'm going to put them together in a cage. Nice pouch though, a little nicer on the handbag. And he is holding his traditional blaster. You can see his bowcaster. I kept the rubber bands in there, but you can see that these have started to come off. And they actually, there's a lot. I'm looking at this and there's a lot. The paint scheme on this. This was not damaged, I don't think. I don't think so. Either that or somebody got battery damage on it or something. But there is some looseness on there, which is weird. So, I'll put him up here next to the other Chewie. There you go, buddy. Okay, we have another Stormtrooper. Yeah, I'm looking at the Stormtrooper, and it's been inside this case for so long, but it has like a thick cloud of dust on it. Oh no, that's not dust. That's partially dust, but it's also like paint, like spattered paint, because it's supposed to be like a dirty one. It comes with the backpack, and it looks like he's mooning us. Sorry. Get that like that. This one also came with one of those from the special edition. Came with one of those droids, those like not interrogation droids, but like a spy droid. And they just kind of inserted it going across. That's kind of cool. All right. And lastly, but not leastly, almost lastly, but not leastly, we have Leia. This is the Hoth Leia. Whom, again, even though I was really impressed with the Hot Toys one, and the Hot Toys one blows everything else out of the water, this one does a pretty good job. Okay, it does. But as you can see, they've all gotten some water damage due to the boxes. Some of them being damaged, and I took them out of the boxes, but there was still a little bit of mold. Guys, what can I say? There are plenty of websites. I've seen Toypaloy is one of them that you can look up how to do a good job of restoring figures. It's mostly vintage, but you can probably apply it to all the new figures. All right, but I'm not that concerned about it. I mean, these are not ultra valuable, and also we've made some improvements to the basement to keep it more watertight. And if we do get some water, things are lifted up higher so they don't fall into the same trap. So see what happens. But one more thing on here was, and I believe this was part of the Grand Moff Tarkin one, was the Mind Probe, or from Robot Chicken, Dr. Ball. This is a flu shot. If anybody's ever seen that, let's just look up Robot Chicken and Dr. Ball. I don't want to. There's some some choice language in there, but it's really funny. So that goes with Grand Moff Tarkin. So there you go. That is where we stand with these two shelves. Now I have 2 more shelves on the bottom, which I'll get to at some point. I have about 8 of these shelves, so we have plenty of shelf talks to get through, and we'll do that. We'll do some other ones, but I'm very excited about it. We have some more unboxings coming. It's just a nice hodgepodge of a lot of different things coming our way. So that'll do it for this week's episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show Shelf Talk. And make sure that you like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. Darth Tuba is our name. Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing page on Facebook. Email me, darthtuba77@gmail.com. And leave comments if you have any other requests. Until then, we will see you next time. May the Force be with you.